if one is recognizing like, oh, wow, Sharon, like this is something I do know that I do, or I have had a lot of these repeated relationships. What now? Let's say they're single again and they eventually want to find a partner. If it's a romantic relationship or, friendships, those kinds of things. How do they, really hone in on that awareness so that they don't create that scenario again?
Yes. And, I get a lot of people asking that exact same question. So sometimes it's a matter of trying to be able to see, sort of what's happening, before it happens almost. Often what happens is people will get really attached to a new partner before they see those red flags. And then it's not too late, but it's more difficult because once we have formed that attachment bond with somebody, we're invested, right? I mean, both it feels good at this point because, we're getting love and attention and, things that we like. But we also feel, some sense of connection and support and, some of these good things that we're getting from the other person that we don't want to lose. Right. And again, there's this ongoing, probably unconscious piece of us that's like, okay, I can fix this. I can change this. I can get this to be different. And sometimes that really is that outward focus of I'm trying to fix or change the other person. Sometimes it can be an internal too. Like if I could just be better in whatever, that, means to you. If I can be more agreeable, if I could, be a better partner, I could be more attentive to their needs, again, like somehow that's going to, fix all of the things that are wrong here. Instead of, a more grounded, realistic approach of like, this is the person that you're with. Are they actually treating you well? Are they meeting your needs? Is this something that is going to work given, who they are in this exact moment and who you are in this exact moment? So that's part of it. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah. It's just an interesting question. I personally had experiences of that before meeting my partner Ike 10 years ago. But yeah, I was like, how did I do this again? Like, why am I back here in this space? And yeah, I totally get it. For everyone watching, it's challenging because there's absolutely areas of that relationship, whether it's becoming not healthy or not, right, that you just love and you don't want to let go of. So
yeah. Well, so for anybody who's in that position of starting a new relationship or might be starting a new relationship, I mean, just one really practical piece of advice I would say is really just try to slow it down at the beginning of the relationship. Is not go so quickly into spending so much time or sharing so much personal information or being physically intimate with them immediately, because these are all the things that make us feel really connected really fast before we really have enough information to find out, is this person trustworthy? Are they a safe person? Because again, I mean, as much as I believe we have some gut instincts around that, and sometimes we are just not listening to that. It's often we sort of have gotten out of sync with ourselves, I think, in that way, that we're just not really honing in on, how am I feeling? Because somebody who is a narcissist can really almost has, two personalities at times, right? They can be really charming and, seem really fantastic at the beginning of a relationship often. And it really, honestly, it just takes time before you start to see the other side. And there's, and if you have, just jumped in and like, okay, now I'm attached and, we're moving in together and, all of this super fast, you just really don't have all the information that you need. So, I mean, I think it really goes against the way, relationships tend to go these days, is to just take it slow.
love hormones just, tend to speed things along and want us to, right, do
Yeah.
things too quickly. So yeah, totally get that. Awesome. Well, thank you for touching on that. I think that's such an important thing for anyone watching right now, to just be aware of those tendencies. So I would love it if you share about your gift. So everybody, there's a button below that leads over to Sharon's website where she has a freebie for you. So what do you have?
So I have put together, it's an ebook for people. It is a guide specifically about setting boundaries with toxic, difficult people. So it covers a whole lot of more information, tips and things about how to do that, more about what to do when people disrespect your boundaries. And it's got, as well as just information, there's a lot of reflective questions in there for people to think about their own particular situations and hopefully get some new insights as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And again, everyone, there's a button below, so just click right through on it to head over to Sharon's site. Are there any last insights? Have we left anything out of this very important conversation?
Well, I guess I'll just, maybe it's new, or maybe it's a reiteration of what I've already said, which is, I think it's really important that we feel like we can set boundaries with people. But I also think it's important that we are all just really kind to ourselves, no matter where we are in this process. So if it feels overwhelming to you to, set a boundary, it is okay. I mean, this shouldn't be, a situation where the takeaway should be that you should feel bad about not setting the boundaries, because it is really, really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And you may want to think about it as an incremental process, that, you think about just, what can I do a little bit more of? Or, when you're starting to set boundaries and you haven't done a lot of it before, start with people who are a little bit easier to deal with, right? So if the really difficult person or the toxic narcissistic person is your partner, think about whether there's a friend or somebody at work who is going to be more receptive, and do some practice there, right? I mean, just start in a place where you're going to have some success to begin with, and it's going to feel safer for you. So you can kind of think about it as a skill that you're going to build upon, and then get to, feeling like you can do it more with people who are more challenging.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that very practical tip on how to get started and for everybody to go out and start setting boundaries. Thank you so much for doing this again, Sharon.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. And thank you everyone who's watching and listening right now for showing up for yourself. And we will see you again real soon. Take care, everybody.